We're going to get started in just a few minutes. I'm just going to wait, make sure we let a few people trickle in the last couple of minutes here. While everyone's waiting, just to give you a little bit of background on kind of the purpose behind these Glew bi-weekly trainings. They may become more like weekly trainings depending on the appetite. But the idea behind this is to give you a resource to really take advantage of everything that Glew has to offer, kind of create a group think around some questions and things like that for everybody. So hopefully you'll gain a lot from this, be logged on the platform, engaging a lot more. So I'll kind of be the co-pilot on this. Laura will actually be the one who will be going into the training and going through some different things. She's been with Glew since before we even had a product, I think. So
2015.
She's been here a super long time. So yeah, we'll let her take the reins in just a couple of minutes once we get started.
Yep. Okay. Awesome. All right. I'm going to get our screen shared here. Make sure you guys can see it. All right.
All right, cool. So like I said, bi-weekly product training. Kicking off the first one here. So congrats to be one of the people, the guinea pigs on this. Just a quick intro to the team. These are the client success leadership team. You obviously have me and Laura on the call today. So you probably interacted with one or multiple of us. You'll sure be hearing from one of us very soon after the call. So this is just the team, our beautiful headshots here as well. And then just to kind of what we'll cover today, we're going to go through the data connection process, so what we call a straight to integration. We'll go through some store settings and preferences, a Glew.io walkthrough, so actually get in the app, show you some different features and stories around ways that you can use the tool. We'll talk about some different custom reports that you can build within the tool. We'll go through some frequently asked questions and resources. And then we'll also do a Q&A. So if you want, hold your questions to the end, write them down. We'll try to get to as many as we can. If you have any questions that's specific to your specific account, we'll follow up with you offline. So you can email me or Laura directly with those. But yeah, so any kind of questions, ask away, but let's just try to wait closer to the end of the call. But yeah, so turn it over to Laura.
Awesome. All right, guys, here we go. Data connections. Obviously, we're going to go through, connecting your data is like the biggest part of all of this, right? So initially getting all of that set up. Store settings, you're going to find a lot of information in store settings of like kind of housekeeping items. So making sure that you get everything connected is, obviously first and foremost what we need to do to import your data. Hopefully you've already done that. But each store you connect in and the GA is the biggest part. And then any additional data sources, we have 22 standard out of the box in Glew.io, our SaaS product. Anything that says Glew Plus is actually reserved for Glew Plus customers. So like I said, we have 22 standard. So any of those you can definitely integrate. There's no added cost. We give you full access to everything. So if you need to link to it, we'll send this to you as well after our training. Store settings. I'm going to wait a second for this. Can you see it?
There it goes.
All right. Store settings and preferences. So making sure time zone, it seems silly, but a lot of times, like if something seems off with the data, it might just be that you don't have the correct time zone. So if you're in Australia, you want to make sure you have your time zone set up properly. Displaying currencies, it's going to be standard. It will display USD. If you need to adjust that, go ahead. Lapse point is really cool. It's a unique algorithm in the tool, unique to each store that integrates. So you get to see how long it takes for a customer to be considered lost. And that's your lapse point. Like I said, it's unique to your store. You probably want at least 6 months to a year's worth of data to get an accurate read on that. Revenue preferences. This is a big one, a really big one. I wouldn't really touch the preferences unless you have a specific use case for it. We mirror your standard shopping cart revenue preferences. So I would probably leave those. If you have questions about it, let us know. We'll explain it, why we have it the way we do. Users, this is important. Make sure that you have, you get to add as many users as you want. I've seen like 40 users on an account, so they get the daily snapshot, of course. But make sure that you have the correct permission set. We'll go through a couple of things like reports. all reports can only be seen by admins, for example. So just make sure you have that set up. That's also where you can click into a user and manage whether someone gets a daily snapshot or not. So if you're not getting it, it might be that you just need to click that box. We're going to go through, obviously, the application today. That's the goal. Each of the tabs are going to be, different kind of parts of your store management. So highlights will be your top line KPIs coming from your shopping cart and your Google Analytics data. Perfect for your recurring daily, weekly, monthly reports that we'll go over. Performance will have some ad spend and channel data. Customers, of course, we want to segment those out, treating different customers differently. Products, inventory, order level data. We're going to go into all of this. And subscriptions is not applicable to everyone, but I'll touch on that briefly. So let's get started. All right. So I am in, hopefully you can see the app. I'm in store settings. So we touched briefly on data preferences. So making sure you have the correct currency set up, making sure that, I'll try not to click around too much, sorry. The revenue settings, like I said, will mirror your shopping cart. One thing that's good to note, because I'm excluding these, just think discounts, I'm excluding, I'm deducting from my revenue. So it's actually making it smaller. It's more of a true number, right? I just always like to point that out. But again, it's going to mirror your shopping cart. Your unique lapse point can be found in the store settings under data preferences. The suggested is always going to be the natural algorithm that we return based on your historical purchases. So Glew is fully historical. If you want to set your own, you can surely do that. You can control your lapse point. So I actually changed it to 200 just to show you can change it. Super easy, save it, and you'll be set. So again, connecting in the data sources, super important. We want to make sure that we are entering in the proper credentials. Obviously, you would only have one cart, but I just want to show that we support all, the major cart systems. So you can pop in your credentials. The big one for your data connections is making sure you have the proper permissions and credentials. A big example would be Facebook for this one. So if you see any data errors, you're going to see a little notification beneath store settings. We just added that. So a little red bubble like we see notifications. And then if you scroll to the very top, this is where you're going to see which data source is returning an error. Like I said, it's typically to do with permissions. So be sure that when you're entering those in, you have the proper credentials or permissions. As you scroll down, you'll find the major one that you need to connect in, your shopping cart, your Google Analytics. So make sure you're connecting that one in before you scroll to the top to import. Hopefully, like I said, you've already imported your data. So we're going to go through the application, and I'm going to kind of show you as we go the reports features, which is the reports builder and scheduler. This is actually really important because so many of you guys send me things that you've been manually compiling in spreadsheets, and we want to alleviate any manual work that you might be doing on a regular basis. So if you want to save any of these top line KPIs, these are coming from your e-commerce cart and your Google Analytics. So what I can do is I can come up to our new this date picker is actually new as of Friday. So it gives you a lot more flexibility in the way you can go back retroactively or compare like different date ranges. But right now I have 200 days for the purpose of this. I want to show you for customers. But anyway, so I can set my date picker. I can come in, and as I'm going down through here, I can actually start to add metrics to reports. But a couple of things to note, and we actually added this pretty recently as well, is the ability to use these drop downs. So notice all throughout the application that there's things like looking at a week or time of day. I can change the way the visualization is displayed, like bar chart, for example, looking at year over year data. So this would be a good example of something that I might want to save to the reports tab. So there's two ways that I can save to reports. That's a new report or an existing. So So if I want a new report, I click add this metric to new report. What it's going to do is actually pop me into the reports tab. So I'm not going to click it because I want to keep going here. But once I click that, new report created, and it can be found in reports. So again, this is great for compiling data from your major e-com metrics with your Google Analytics metrics. For example, we've got visits and conversion. So maybe I want to see my highest converting day of week. And again, I can change that to bar chart and start adding filters. So when you click this little, the 3 dots, it's called a kebab. I can add filters to a metric anywhere in the application and start bringing in things like device or channel. So maybe I want to see channel is CPC Google, for instance. So I can save this. And now, again, I can add this to a report or maybe an existing because I want to do a weekly executive report. So it makes it really easy to track this data in one comprehensive view. So obviously, I can always come live in the app. We're going to move on to performance overview. This is also great for reports. I always add this one. A lot of people are trying to compile their total ad spend, for example. So getting a cumulative ad spend, you've connected in your major sources like your CPC Google, your Facebook, Instagram, and your, let's say, ad roll. This will give you a aggregate view of all those data sources for ad spend. Again, we can change the look and feel of this, add it to a report. As easy as that. Top channels here. So this is a great way to see if you hover over your top performing channels for each month. And this will be more of a table view showing all of the different metrics for each specific channel. Glew has a first order attribution model, and this is really great for understanding where your customers are derived from. So we'll go into that a little bit more. We have a lifetime value tab that's very similar to this, but this is a great, again, really great for a report. So add metric to new report. Advertising, currently we have Facebook, additional metrics coming from Facebook advertising, their business ad manager, conversion data. I can, again, always add filters. So if I wanted to come in and maybe find my highest converting channel, or I want to do it based on the name, if you have tons and tons of ads that you're running, maybe it contains, I don't know, new something. So you can find a keyword, save it, and create the segment. So creating a segment is a way to have this data live in the drop down in your different parts of the application. Soon we'll be releasing Google AdWords, but this is the Facebook Business Ad Manager data and attribution window, which is a 28-day, one-day click, 28-day view. Email marketing, depending on the application that you're utilizing, we have Bronto.digital, Klaviyo, and MailChimp. So we can pull these metrics into our weekly report. Customers. So customers, this is really great for treating different customers differently. I was talking to a guy that had a blanket email he was sending out every weekend, and I showed this to him, and he's like, man, that's a really good idea. So treating them differently, we have lots of ideas that we can give you. I would say one of the big ones is maybe finding your high AOV type customers. And then also maybe bringing in status into the mix. So I could actually do not only high AOV, but also high AOV. Let's see, there was a loss. There it is. So this is where you can layer in filters. So not only is my customer high AOV, their status is lost, I could keep going. I could do devices mobile. Always remember that that Google Analytics layer is there. So save segment. This is great for a win back campaign. Anytime somebody is lost, which this is dummy data, they should all be red, but you would be able to push this automatically to your Klaviyo or MailChimp if you have either of those two, or download with the live store you'd have export to CSV. We can also do something like, what was the other example? In August. So finding new customers and tracking their performance, almost kind of like a cohort analysis in a sense. So what this filter would look like is looking at when they first ordered. So I'm kind of carving out this time frame. So in this case, I'm looking at a monthly view. I could do all of 2019. I could look at a quarterly view. We just ended a quarter. And then from here, maybe I want to layer in those customers that have actually ordered again. So maybe they first purchased in August, but now I want to start seeing customers that have ordered more than one time. So I can save these segments. Greater than one means they've repeat purchased, right? So new August customers that have also repeat purchased. This is obviously dummy data. That'd be cool if someone ordered 146 times, one time almost every day. Tags are going to be specific to Shopify, but I always recommend utilizing smart tags if you have Shopify, because there's some really cool ways that you can isolate data and better understand the performance of your different types of customers. For different carts, they might be groups as well. Segments is a great way to see your different customer purchase behavior by segment. We have predefined, or you can go to custom, the cool smart segments you've created in the customer list. But in segments here, we can see the different types of purchasing customers. Maybe I want to see my first purchase customers. What did they purchase? They love the Sally red hat, gets them every time. That's their first purchase, and now they're a customer. So now I can start marketing other products to them. Repeat customer. Well, what did my repeat customers buy? They wanted another Sally red hat because they love it so much. They want to get one for their friend. So this is cool because, again, you can see the purchase behavior of these different groups. VIP is a really great one to automate and push over to your Klaviyo or MailChimp. And remember, it's dynamic. So keep that in mind, because we obviously want to automate as much as possible. 31.9% of my revenue has come from these small group of customers. So 435 customers, depending on your store, that's not very many people. So we want to make sure and treat different customers differently. So this will give you some ideas. Another cool one to look at would be lifetime value, which I think we'll probably do a lifetime value focused. I think we might have already done an LTV focused webinar, but we'll probably do another one. But it's really important to understand LTV for your store, understanding that not just from this customer segment's performance, but also on a product level, a channel level, campaign level. So we'll go into that in a minute in the LTV tab. Future value is a great way to see lifetime aggregate data. I don't have to use a date picker. What I can do is now see at all times where customers are, whether it's frequency of purchasing to where they are in the quote unquote funnel. So they're either active, at risk, or with my 200-day mark that I set in store settings, all of these customers are in the lost segment. It's pretty cool too. I can see predictive metrics around my future potential revenue hidden in this group of customers based on their past behavior. This frequency here, I like the way that we're able to show you easily where you have opportunity. Obviously, bottlenecking at the first purchase with over almost 18,000 customers in that segment. LTV, as I said before, really important to focus in on long-term strategies rather than just looking at, revenue, orders, how many did I get today? Let's step back and look at more of a long-term scope. We want that gradual uptick in LTV. AOV times purchase frequency is how we get that. You'll notice all throughout the application, if you hover over the little I or headers, that it will tell you how we're calculating that. So if you ever have a question, it's usually in the app if it's not in the FAQ page, which Abby's done a really great job of updating. So this would be ideal. Now, sometimes you might see it going the opposite direction. The health of your store is at risk. Pay more attention to LTV metrics and where your strengths are and focus on those. But, you might have some gradual or downward push on the line, which means you're probably acquiring a lot of new customers, for instance, in that time frame. So not necessarily a bad thing, but we want to acquire the right type of customer, right? This is dummy data, obviously, but this is a great way to see your new versus repeat customers. We can look at the data different ways. So always look at those drop downs in the different metric groups. LTV profitability by channel is a great way to see, of course, LTV, right? Where are my customers coming from and where are my best customers coming from? So if I sort by LTV, I can see where my top LTV customers lie. So then from there, if I want to click into, let's say this affiliate, for instance, and I want to see where those, because a lot of times there's different ones for depending on your industry, but like Doveco, I want to say it's Doveco. There's Deal Cove, but there's lots of different ones, and you can see, okay, where should I be allocating more of my resources? Maybe I want to see Facebook paid or CPC Google, for instance. See, these are great ones for seeing the campaign level data. So if you're spending thousands of dollars a month, it's good to understand where you should be putting either less money, more money, and then down to the campaign level. So finding where you're retaining more of your customers as well. So that's where this LTV number comes in handy, because it takes all of those customers' AOV times purchase frequency. So then we can see how well we're actually retaining. So how many of these new customers are actually moving over into that repeat bucket. So lots to understand in the channel data, the LTV. Let's go into products. So what are we marketing to our customers? So I actually like the way that our products are built out, the product list and everything, and the way we can filter. You will get some out-of-the-box segments that you can utilize, and those are the ones that don't say custom. So use what we have out of the box, but then from there you can kind of create your own depending on your business model. One thing that's consistent throughout the products page, variant versus configurable. Do I want to see SKU, variant, composite, trying to think of any other. They're different for different carts, but essentially this left one is going to be breaking it out by the SKU level. If you have various colors and sizes, we can click there and it will break it out. Rolling it up at the configurable level is the parent level. We actually just released this as well not too long ago. If I click this little arrow and it was a live store, I would actually be able to see my top performing products. Like for this sandal, for instance, if I had it in black and brown, I could see which ones were performing the best. One other thing to note, in any of the tables in Glew, that you can see only some of the columns. There's a lot of data. So I can hide and show different columns. Manufacturer, if you have different vendors, it might make sense. I can hide it. I can pin. So maybe I want to pin the status because I'm trying to go through all of my visible or hidden or however it says it for your cart system. And yeah, so this is just a great way if you're trying to kind of filter out your products. We can come in here and maybe do like channel is CPC Google, or I could also do it on the campaign level. So if I have a specific campaign and I know the name of it, I could do, campaign product performance. So this would be something that I would name and I would create as a segment. So when you create the segment, name it, save it, it will live in the drop down as a custom segment. Hopefully that makes sense. I could sort different ways with my product performance. Again, look at it on a SKU broken out by size and color or at the parent level. Segments are great for your recurring reports that we're going to talk about in a second, how to send out. So if I want to add this to an existing report, I would just come in here and add to a report. So very easy to continually add metric groups as you're going throughout the application, just kind of cherry picking them. I'm going to show you another really helpful, especially with the Black Friday, Cyber Monday coming up. We're going to create a depletions report. So for your Actually, I think I already have one created. So let's say that your lead time is 30 days or 60 days. If I click into this, I've now created a predictive view for my restocking for inventory. So I always like to sort by inventory velocity because I want to see how many units on average per day I'm selling. This is great for looking back retroactively. If you want to go back to Black Friday, Cyber Monday last season, let's plan for this season. Again, I can add this to a report. This is actually a great one to automate. And I'll show you that in a minute, how to do that. But again, this will give you a projected or predictive analytics around how many days you have left of inventory. So if it takes you, 30 days, 60 days, we want to get those restocked. Product tags will be for Shopify. Another one that you'll see is categories. So if I'm trying to get to category level data, I can click into that specific category or tag. Again, save to reports. Another thing to note is you'll be able to see product and tag level customers and their lifetime data. So this is really valuable for understanding where majority of your lifetime revenue or orders lie. And this would be, for instance, like if you had purses and you were a fashion brand and you wanted to see how much revenue the purses were bringing you. I mean, these people love purses because they've basically spent all of their money on purses for their lifetime of their revenue. So really good metric to look at, and is more interesting on a product level if you're like a consumer consumable type product. More interesting on the tag level if you're a fashion brand or catalog type brand, you have thousands of SKUs. Vendors and manufacturers is only applicable if you offer several different vendor on your site. And if you want to, these are great for also automating out to your vendor for reorders, letting them know about inventory. All right, we're almost done. Order list. This is going to be a great way to see your gross revenue. So if you're trying to get your gross before we take out shipping, taxes, discounts, and refunds, this is where you're going to want to come. Now, you can also create some different segments here as well. So same look and feel. I think once you get the hang of our filters, we call it the beast internally, but that will give you a great way to parse out your data different ways that you would never be able to do without Glew. So you can kind of mix and match those. I'll show you one that I always show people is like a free shipping. So you do equals 0. This is free shipping orders. And then again, I can start layering in if I want to do channel data from Google Analytics or mobile device, and I can save it. So create segment. This is dummy data, but that will save it. Now, shipping is only applicable if you have, Ship Central or Ship Station. Discounts is a great way to track your discount code usage. I can isolate different discounts. I can see what it's doing for my sales, majority of revenue it's coming from. Let's check out where highest AOV discount codes are. Let's use more of those because we know AOV goes into LTV. Now, subscriptions, there's a couple things to note here. It's fully historical. Subscriptions and charges, think of that as kind of more the order level versus subscribers is kind of like our customers tab where we're rolling all of that data up. So if you want to kind of slice and dice this data as well, make sure that you utilize the table and create the filter there, save the segment, and then that will fall under custom at the top, and it will basically filter the entire page. So it's really cool because you can isolate different types of subscribers or subscriptions plans as you're going throughout the application. A really cool one here is also our retention cohort analysis for subscribers. This is also great for adding to a report. You can see this is retained as well. All right, so we've been talking about reports the whole time. This is great for, again, streamlining your reporting process. I'm not going to go into Amazon, but Amazon might be one of your channels. You can get the top line KPIs from there, your shopping cart data, like I was showing you, the total ad spend, your VIP customers, and your depletion days, all in the same report. So think about the different KPIs that you want to save into one cohesive executive report, and you can send that to your team. So let's pretend that this is our team report. So this is a team weekly report. So we're going to actually schedule this report out. So we're going to do either a one-time send or schedule recurring. Now I'm going to show you one more way that you can do it, because you might already be in the report. You would actually click email in that case. So send now, send later, or schedule recurring. You're going to set up your parameters for daily, weekly, or monthly. When do I want it to start? And who do I want it to go to? That's the most important part. So let's pretend I'm going to send this to myself. So I click enter. I can add multiple recipients. They don't have to be a user of Glew, but keep in mind that they're going to get a PDF non-interactive report. So if you want to see what it'll look like, go to document mode. Maybe you're going to wow your team with this executive report. Bring it to your Monday morning meeting. It will show you everything that's in it, table of contents, and then all of your reports that you have, or metrics that you have in your report. So once you've scheduled that out, so let's say we saved it, you can also print it. If it's scheduled, you will see it in scheduled reports. If you ask us, where's our report, and there's no report in scheduled reports, it's because you didn't set it up properly, or maybe you didn't save it. So make sure if you are scheduling it out, it lives in scheduled reports. You can always delete it here as well, but it will still show up in my reports. All right. I can't believe I made it all the way through. Okay, so any questions for us? I'm going to actually stop sharing my screen, right? Are you good? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, send us some questions. Do you have them?
Okay.
Maybe there.
Okay.
So I guess there is two ways you can send questions. You can use the chat box, or there's an ask a question tab. Anything that you can think of. The idea here is, as you guys all use the tool in different ways, if you have specific questions, it may spark somebody else to find a different way to use the tool that they haven't been using. A lot of what we build in the tool is direct feedback from our merchants. So if you have any questions, if you feel like, hey, maybe we missed something in that, ask away. We'll try to get you an answer right now. So Melody asked, when segmenting discounts, it doesn't take into account discounts from a code. Is that coming, or am I missing something?
And are you talking about segmenting discounts in the discounts tab, or are you talking about something else? Is there a way to see? Okay. Because I can I'll share with you really quickly.
When I look at sales from discounts.
Okay. So if you go into the discounts tab, which I think is so basically you can isolate one of the codes. So if I wanted to look at all of my 1 month free, my 10% off, that will pull all of the customers that purchase from 50% off, for example. Maybe I want to see Swag Smith and see, what did that person purchase? I can see a whole timeline. But that's coming from specific to people that use the 50% off. What I think you might be asking is the filters. So setting filters here, I could isolate specific codes. So if you want to do like discount code is 10% off, whatever they are, I can add them continually this way. Or if I'm just trying to isolate specific discount codes, I could do 50% off, whatever. I can continually.
She said, got it. And does it show discount performance sans code? Like, is not?
Oh, yeah. It's not. So like I said, you'll get used to this as you play with it more. But I can layer in for the same like column that I'm filtering by, and I could do all of them but 10% off, if that makes sense. So then again, I'm going to name this and save this segment. But this is just for this part of your discount code usage. So then you might want to save that to a report, or again, once you name it, it'll live in the dropdown. Hopefully that answered your question.
She said, I mean, when there's an automatic sale without a code.
Oh, without a
product
code.
is discounted.
So when a product is
Yeah.
discounted.
This may be something if we're getting super
Yeah, we
early,
can.
always
Yeah, we could always
offline.
follow up offline with this one. But I would say, like, if you're trying to pull customers that used a did not use a discount, I would say discount equals 0. So no discount.
Cool.
Okay.
The next question was, does the lapse point auto update, or do you recommend going in every 6 months to a year to update?
That's a good question. It's going to keep hopefully getting longer, taking longer to lose a customer or have them be lost. So when you look in store settings, it will automatically continue to update. So whatever the natural lapse point is, that's based on historical purchases. But you can most certainly, if you're noticing that it's a lot longer based on whatever your marketing kind of automations are set up as, and maybe you want to be getting in front of your customers a little bit early and you want to use that filter for lapse or status, you could most definitely control it here and change that and make it shorter or longer.
But it does auto update.
Yep.
So this next one is any way we can view our blended client acquisition costs, new customers over total ad spend by week or month.
So if you go to, you can do this in performance overview or customers lifetime value, depending on if you're trying to see like an LTV to CAC ratio versus an overview performance. Oops. Hopefully you guys can see my screen still. This is where you will see like your total ad spends pulls in. Sorry. I think you will need to go, you would go to lifetime value. So this is where the customer acquisition cost is. Sorry, I should know that. New customer acquisition cost by channel will update here. I think I'm answering them right.
And that's date range applicable.
Yes. Yeah, it's still date range applicable, even though it's the lifetime value chart. That's right.
There's a question here. This may be one we want to look at. Is there a reason that data under performance tab would show a different result in Shopify and Glew? For example, revenue driven by direct traffic. That may just be one based on the attribution model.
So remember that Glew has a first order attribution model, which means it's the last place that your customer clicked before they started paying you money for the very first time. So if you're noticing like something different about that, that's how we're able to give you lifetime value by channel. A good story for this really quickly is I was looking at a fashion brand in LA or San Francisco, and they were looking at their highest LTV channel came from next door randomly. Like you don't really hear that much. But it was 3 times their LTV, but they didn't have access to that through their other means of reporting because Glew will hold on to that first order attribution. So, months down the road, you can still see value customer. So that's kind of the point of why we did the first order attribution. It's something new. It's homogenized. So we're looking at one attribution for every channel. So it's more profit focused.
The next question is about COGS, and it says, if you update your cost of goods, does that update all of your gross profit reports analysis historically?
So I forgot to touch on this. Sorry, I was trying to get through the whole thing. So cost manager, you can pull from your shopping cart, or you can use our CSV template. and upload. And that's going to go based on whatever was last uploaded, but will also be captured historically. And hopefully that answers.
Yeah, I think so. I think from what I understand with that, we can update them historically. It's just a matter of Tyler, that may be a question if you want to email us. There's a couple different ways that we can interpret the data and put it in there for you. So if you want to email me directly about that, feel free to. We can kind of look at that.
Yeah. Good question.
Oh, if you don't want it to affect your historical, then it shouldn't be an issue. Because every time you update your COGS, it'll update the SKUs moving forward, not historical. Now, if you wanted a historical update, that's something that we could do. But yeah, okay, cool, perfect.
Thank you guys. And for the in-depth sections, will you guys give us your suggestions on what you'd like to see? Because we're gonna kind of like pull all that together, and that will help us decide.
I don't know if you heard Abby in the background. Yeah, Tyler, there will be. So she's gonna send a follow-up on this. It'll have not like 5 questions, but one of them will be what different sections you'd like to see. So definitely give us your feedback there, and we're a pretty agile team here, so we'll probably have one scheduled here in the next couple days.
Cool. Awesome. Thank you guys.
Thanks so much, everybody. Have a great one.
Appreciate it.